Hey, this is Mike from the show. I just wanted to give you all a heads up that over the next few weeks we will be releasing our Season 5 Blitzcast. What's a Blitzcast, you say? Well, a Blitzcast is where Dre and I convince 12 past and future guests to join us for a speed-through of Babylon 5 Season 5. Past Mike and Dre explain it well on the show, so enjoy the change of pace while Dre and I get ready for the end of our Babylon 5 journey. Cue the new Season 5 intro now.
There's a hole in your mind.
Those weak quills of ours.
Just another cash grab.
I will kill Mike Slater.
Ladies' night out to Zahadu, girls.
It's part of the code. The boneheads don't kill the other boneheads.
Just to get them all in.
Just my little fingies, get them all in there, nothing weird. Mummy is not a perfect film.
More dino glasses for the Narn.
Miss Piggy makes it on the deck.
Why is Mike on a sing about? I was born in Philadelphia.
The devil's mullet.
And the year of joy.
The year is 2026.
The name of the show, you gotta check this out.
Dre, I have one message to you coming in, a transmission from Babylon 5. Do you know what that message is?
What do we got?
There's a hole in your mind. And you know what we're going to fill that hole with? We're going to fill that hole with Season 5 of Babylon 5 today.
Okay, first off, I have no notes on that. We're keeping that as is.
We are going to be going through all of Babylon 5, Season 5. Usually on this show, we take a key episode from a season of Babylon 5 and talk about it for the entire episode. But the problem is with Season 5 is...
It's bad.
We will get to all of it throughout today. So rather than take you through individual episodes, we're going to do a big chunk of the first 15 or 16 episodes of the season and then finish off this last season of Babylon 5 by covering some of the individual episodes at the end. And we're going to get into all of that throughout with our guests today as to why we think that Babylon 5 Season 5, it can be fun to watch as a regular show, but compared to what came before, it does not hold a candle, and it's not as fun anymore, and it just isn't the same show.
All right. Well, I know I normally do the intro, Mike, but I could not have said it better myself. Welcome back to You Gotta Check This Out, where
check this out.
We are taking a zag. The premise of this show is we want you to watch
premise.
And I will say this.
I'm not going to let you finish today. I'm in the mood for a Blitzcast.
I will say this. There is one episode that we have done where we said it was antithetical. Really? Antithetical doesn't get... Oh, fine, Mike, whatever. Mike's a hype man.
That word I will let you have. Antithetical.
Mike is being a hype man today.
Just kidding. Antithetical.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, hype man Mike. And that's all we're going to do back and forth today. But what I was going to say is we have Gray 17 is Missing, one of the worst episodes of the series, kind of universally agreed. I still think that episode is worth checking out because it's kind of the what the hell? You kind of have to watch it, and there are bones in that episode. There are plot lines that relate. Season 5, though, is a legit zag. There is nothing about Season 5 that I really think is worth checking out, to be honest. Maybe the finale, which we're not even going to talk today. So what we decided to do, though, is Mike's got all of our previous guests. We're going to have everybody back to see what they've been up to since they were on the show. When they did check out episodes of Babylon 5, we thought they should check out. And instead of subjecting them to even a single episode of Season 5, we're going to cue them in on Season 5. We're going to get through all of Season 5 through episode 16. So for people out there, if you absolutely do not want spoilers... We're going from Babylon 5, Season 5. We're starting with Episode 1, No Compromises. And we are getting through And All My Dreams Torn Asunder. We're going to get through those 16 episodes. Fantastic guests. We're going to cue them in. We're going to say all that. And pretty much that's going to be it. And that, in my opinion, is more fun than watching the show.
So we're going to have each guest come on. And every 15 minutes while we're recording, which to you, the listener, may only be 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how many usable, editable material we get from everybody. But they're going to come on and they're going to introduce the next episode on season 5 in order from wherever they're at. And then whoever was the last guest that was there for the last episode is going to stick around in kind of the side chair to give some side comments as we explain the next episode to the next guest. We got a couple fun things on the way. There's going to be 2 truths and a lie games we're going to have for each episode, for each guest. And mostly we just want to introduce people that we love to each other and have our guests on together.
All right. So, Mike, I don't know if you're familiar with WrestleMania entrances for, Royal Rumble.
Royal what?
The Royal Rumble.
Have you had chili twice in one day yesterday? That's what usually happens to me. I get a Royal Rumble in the evening. It actually happened to me yesterday.
But anyway, our clock is going down.
Bam, bam, bam. And oh my God, whose music just hit? Who do we got, Mike? Who has entered the ring?
Oh my God, who's entering the room? Eat Fedorov. Hey, I have an announcement for you. There is a hole in your mind, and we are about to fill it with Babylon 5, Season 5. How you doing, sir?
Excellent. How about you? I'm ready to have this vacuum, stopped up. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So we have a hole and a vacuum I don't know where we're at. But okay, so everybody, we already kind of explained the premise to everybody, 8, which is you are luckily entrance number 30 in our Babylon 5 Season 5 Royal Rumble. We're getting through the first 16 episodes of Babylon 5 Season 5. You do not have to watch. There is no reason to watch. For those that do not remember, the fantastic episode with 8 Fedorov was on Season 4, Episode 17, The Face of the Enemy, where Garibaldi is involved in a mystery noir episode. One of the rare episodes in Season 4 that was a standalone episode. 8, you are one of the few people that got an episode where you're not like, what the hell is that? Who's going on? Why do they have ears? So, couple things as we get you on. First, 8, how you been since the week since we saw you? Most guess it's going to be a while, but you're one of the more recent. How's it been since?
Oh, very good. Work and the gym. I've taken up the silly, boring hobby of weightlifting. So I'm trying to increase deadlift and stuff.
Does that mean in the band we have to play some more like power punk and like power stuff, maybe get into some metal band just because that's going to be where your head's at?
What it means is I have the forearm endurance for it now if need be. But no, mainly I can deadlift over 350 now, so that's cool.
Holy cow, not bad. Now,
nice.
That sounds like a challenge. Let's follow up with another challenge. Since we last saw you, have you imbibed any more Babylon 5?
No, I have not, but I haven't watched any other TV. So it's not like it's being, on the back shelf of, that thing where I'll have to put it on my list or something.
Yeah, you had it on the dishwashing list for sure. There hasn't even been time for dishwashing around in a federal household.
What I have been doing is very vigilant about daily dishwashing. So there are no extended period of time dishwashing.
So did Babylon 5 incentivize you to do that? You're like, if dishes take too long, I'm going to have to watch that shitty sci-fi show. I better not leave any time.
No, once again, it's dishwashable because it's easily digestible and because it's fun. You can look up, you can look down, you get the sense of something visually engaging is happening, so you can look up and stuff. No, I'm not trying to get out of continuing this. I'm intrigued. You mentioned season 5 is bad, so I'm not looking forward to that, I suppose. But
like it's different. I think it's not necessarily bad, but it's bad when compared to what's come before.
I'll say it's bad. I got no complaints there. This is a fun game for folks out there. 8, you've been, background person on like television shows, including like Parks and Rec. Yeah. It is a fun Where's Waldo. If anybody out there is watching pop culture and happens to see your name or you proper, feel free to let us know it. You got to check this out. Any new plugs since the last time, though?
No, I do recall one time they afterwards wrote me into an episode of NCIS LA as like a plot element.
Oh,
because I drove a smart car at the time. So the smart car got cast way more than I did. So a few episodes of Silicon Valley where they're like, we need a stupid nerd car, like dorky looking car. And then when they needed to make downtown LA look like Europe, they would hire my smart car and then have me stand in front of a bank or whatever. And then one time I just being in character, and just trying stuff. I was on a phone. They told me to be on a phone, and then what I discovered was the main bad guy of the episode. It was like walking into the bank, and I just gave him a nod. And then I think later on the episode, I swear, they said, "Oh, and that's his contact right there." And I was like, "Oh, well, cool. I'm the contact."
And again, and I love this where we have to, keep the theme of, we should stay there the full 50, your full slot, but we got to get back to Babylon 5. And very last thing, do you have anything new to check out since we saw last? We don't have the full time, so like one thing
that you want to recommend to the listeners that's not Babylon 5 Season 5.
I mean, for your audience, it might not be something too obscure, but Catherine Bigelow's 1995 film Strange Days, absolutely, one of the best sci-fi films ever made. It is crazy that it was made 30 years ago because it's about everything that's happened in the last 10, 15 years. So prescient. Angela Bassett is still one of the best actors ever to be on screen ever.
Is that the one with Russell Crowe in it? Am I thinking?
No, Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes. Yeah,
playing like the sleaziest. I mean, Ray Fiennes cast off. He's played a lot of villains, but he never played like a sleazy guy. And this is like a sleazeball kind of character.
What are your opinions of Voldemort and Nazi? But anyway, fair enough.
Yeah.
They were evil. They're not sleazy. I'm like, okay, well, you and I have different definitions of sleazy. Didn't mean to throw 8 under the bus with silly takes. All right, Mike, you're welcome to try and one-up that. Funny thing in my head is like,
no, I think I'm going to give that one to you. You got it with the whole Nazi sleaze.
No, I'm saying you could recommend the same thing 13 times in a row if you wanted, which could be a fun running bit. But with that in mind, with apologies, we got to get going on this. So 8, we are on episode 1 of season 5, No Compromises. This is what people reading the TV guide would have been looking forward to. 8, do you want to get our listeners into the mood?
Ivanova's replacement arrives during Sheridan's inaugural preparations, The gay telepath foils an assassination. Huh?
Yeah, that kind of happened on the episode, but the way that I found the tagline, I thought it said, "We get a new captain who sucks, but it's cool. A telepath shows mind flowers to the new girl boss." I think that's what actually sums up the episode, because what we do get is they're trying to reestablish everything after the stakes of Babylon 5 season 3 and 4 have gone kind of as high as you can go in sci-fi. It's about the gods that made the universe fighting each other, while they're also dealing with the fascist U.S. government that has taken over the whole globe of Earth Force. They're fighting it all. We have all these factions and political machinations going on. And then now that's the story, and we have to keep going somehow. So what JMS is proposing this season is that,
what are them telepaths up to?
So the big thing this season where it starts out with is there's this group of displaced telepaths. So it's going back into the whole refugee thing. They're refugees. They don't want to be in the Psi Corps because, Bester's a creep and no one likes them and they're all fascist. And they can't really go anywhere else too much because they're still hated by regular people. They're telepaths. They can read your thoughts. Who would ever trust them? So these are kind of like the dregs of society trying to find solace on Babylon 5. And what we pretty much get is 12 episodes of them trying to find a home, and it really drags out. I mean, Dre, what did you think of all this? You have any other comments on the initial telepath story?
I want to give 8 a little bit of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
please.
On our episode, which was telepath heavy, when we did The Face of the Enemy, which was a great episode. Everybody, please go listen. Instead of watching Babylon 5, just watch or listen to You Got to Check This Out. On your episode, there was this brief stint in the telepathic 8 where Lita Alexander just briefly says, I was an intern at Psi Corps and did all this sketchy stuff. And you said, that sounds interesting. There is one episode, season 5 has 4 or 5 backdoor pilots.
Okay.
There was one episode where we follow along Bester with 2 intern telepaths that, Mike, I think you and I classified as not half bad. So that does happen. They listen to you from the future past.
I think we had the right idea. There is very little in original thoughts in screenwriting, so you just have to go where the momentum is. And I'm not surprised that they went that way. I'm not surprised someone went, oh, that's something right there. That's a story. I want to see them eat space donuts. And
yep.
yeah.
And then the other thing that's odd about this episode, it's not odd, it's expected, but they had to do this at the first episode of season 2 where Sinclair left the show and they had the new captain come in. So it's like they had a reset already at the beginning of season 2, and that really felt like a downshift there because all right, we've had all their building, setting up the big plot, and then all of a sudden the captain's gone. So now they have to spend a few episodes of him just, hey, who are you? Oh, I'm meeting you for the first time. And well, we as the audience have been through this with every other character. And now at the top of season 5, they're having another new captain who not only is kind of replacing Sheridan, but also spiritually replacing Ivanova, who left the show in between seasons and became more and more of a great badass and a central character. Having one of the most charismatic characters being replaced by somebody and having to re-go through all of the building steps again, which what should be like the ultimate, final season, gets to a big letdown is where I felt. I don't know if there's anything similar that's out there. Like it almost feels like, you remember The Office for a while after they lost, who was the boss in that? I'm blanking on his name right now.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. And they kept that series of other people coming in, like Will Ferrell is in there. There's a bunch of them until they settled on, the Robert California
on The
character.
Office, we take Steve Carell, we get Will Ferrell, we get Ultron. Give me, we get a horrible replacement for one of us. So 8, I'm going to give you 2 games. So one trivia question is, Steve Carell, 1 or 2 mediocre actors you would have replaced him with, which would have been a downshift. Replace him with Will Ferrell, we're like, oh, heck yeah, this is awesome. Imagine we had done the opposite of that, and that happened in Babylon 5.
Oh, someone who would be, Chris Kattan would have been.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah. Someone who maybe I've heard just enough off-putting stories about him that I don't mind shitting on him a little bit so that he wouldn't be as intriguing as Steve Carell.
I don't think you can one-up that. Okay, 8, we're almost to our next guest. So we're going to end you with our quiz, our 2 truths and a lie. I think most people know the game. We're going to read you 3 things that happened in Babylon 5, Season 5. You tell us which 2 are correct. You tell us which is a lie. Mike, do you want to be the one that reads these, or do you want me to be the one that reads these?
I'll have you read the one because I'm going between tabs right now.
Perfect. All right. So these are 3 things from Season 5 of Babylon 5-8. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is a lie. You get to win or lose if you get to determine which one is the lie. All right. Number 1. The telepaths discover they were cloned to be weapons during an orgy. Number 2, each episode has the phrase, there is a hole in your mind, at least once. Number 3, Sheridan returns to the Vorlon homeworld when his life is expired. Remember, he only has 20 years. Lorien is there, the person who only gave him 20 years, with the real honest Sheridan and Delenn making a new sacred 3.
All right.
Which one is the lie?
All right. I think going back to that one episode I saw, and it's fairly sterile, sexless kind of oeuvre, or rather just that underseam. That's not a phrase. But I would say the first one is a lie. I doubt they would bring up an intergalactic orgy. Yeah?
Okay. Behind the scene, I am so excited because I'll show the seams, Mike, you know me. I apologize. I do this. I made the lie.
Okay.
So Mike and me, this was a game. Mike and I were making the truths and lies.
Okay, yeah.
I made the lie, and I thought that was going to be such a gimme. And on our trial episode, we did a preview.
Yeah.
That didn't get picked. So I succeeded twice with my lie, Mike. No, there is a telepath orgy.
There is a telepath orgy, and they discover everything. Yep.
God,
all right. So 8, you have been a delight as well. Hopefully, this wasn't as challenging as lifting heavy things.
Oh, I was like the bushwhacker. I lasted like a second. Oh, awful.
You are welcome to stay on the call. We may have to kick you as soon as we get more, but beep, 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 beep. Mike, who has entered the ring?
Well, today we have, coming to you from way early in the run on our Babylon 5 coverage, it's Megan Bushhausen, who I mostly have realized how to pronounce her last name.
Did you get it right, Megan? Did you get it right?
I did.
Yes, Megan, There is a hole in your mind, and we're going to fill it with Babylon 5 Season 5 right now.
So welcome, Megan. We've got a few intro things for any new guests. So first off, you're one of our first Babylon 5 guests. For those that do not remember, that was way back in the day. It was Season 2, Episode 7, In the Shadow of Zahadum, where Sheridan is a war criminal, like holding someone against their will and interrogating them. Man, nothing real world there. And as mentioned, yes, your house was flooded in the middle of the episode. That was a wild episode. So the first question we have on that is, it's been a while. Have you imbibed any more Babylon 5 since then?
I have not, but I have thought about that episode like a lot.
I am sincerely hoping we go 0 for 14 on future watches.
I'm pretty sure we will. I think 8 was the most likely to have watched more Babylon 5, and already we're 0 on him.
I would love to see a modern, honestly though, I'd love to see a remake of Babylon 5. I don't know if that's sacrilegious for me to say to you guys.
The closest they got was the recent cartoon, like the animated movie they did.
There was an animated movie.
That's all they can get remade these days.
Oh, man.
And by the way, just to keep people appraised, Megan did kick 8 out of the ring. So it is just us 3, which does make sense. Other question, since we last spoke, anything new to plug? Anything new you want people to check out about you?
Oh my gosh, no, nothing new because, I guess I should say we talked about me running for Board of Ed. I got elected.
Yes. Yeah.
So my life is very busy.
Yeah, I think you are the busiest guest we have. I was so is Megan going to be able to make it? Because between having kid and having political office and a job, your life is going to be going all over the place.
Can I clarify that sentence? Do you just mean Megan, like all of us, is a parent, has a kid, or did you also have a kid in between last episode?
No, I am a parent who has a child. I only have one child. I do not plan on having more children.
I was just going to laugh if we did have that science fiction convention, because it has only been months. It hasn't been years. So it would have been hilarious if somehow you had a 4-month pregnancy that I didn't know about. I'd be like, okay, that's news to me.
It's it's a sci-fi show.
All right, last intro thing. Contractually, we are obligated for people to have something to check out, and we are not recommending Season 5 of Babylon 5.
Okay.
Megan, if you want to check out more Babylon 5, Seasons 3 and 4, which are after your episode, fantastic.
Beautiful.
Stop at just pretend it ends at Season 4.
Okay, we do a pretend the show ends at a certain point thing. Okay.
So, and by the way, I defend Scrubs Season 9. I'm that guy. I'm happy of the reboot.
I gotta watch the new Scrubs.
Wow. Yeah. I do the reboot. And actually, I'm an episode behind. I need to check that. I'm digging the reboot, but Scrubs Season 9, most people accept, and it wasn't supposed to be Scrubs, except it is not Scrubs. I saw potential in that, and I saw Babylon 5 Season 5. I was like, no. But yeah, we are contractually obligated for people to check stuff out. So anything you think our listeners should check out, we're going to limit you to 1.
Okay, perfect. I'm currently watching Season 2 of live action One Piece.
Oh, yeah, I
and
heard
it's
that's
on
really
Netflix, and it's so much fun. I'm a big One Piece fan, and I went into this with an open mind. So if you're a One Piece fan, go in with an open mind. I watch it kind of thinking of it as just another interpretation of the story in a different medium, because we have the manga, we have the anime, and now we have live action. Season 1 was super fun, and I was like, oh, this was fun. This has potential. Season 2 is just knocking it out of the park with how everybody's portrayed. It's so much fun to watch.
Mike, I'm going to assume you're not going to take the opportunity to one-up that with something to check out. We are on Episode 2 of Babylon 5, Season 5. The Long Night of Londo Garibaldi, or of Londo Garibaldi. Ooh, that would have been a major
Long Night of
twist.
Londo Garibaldi.
I would have loved that. Would have been a fantastic twist. But the Long Night of Londo Malari. So Megan, you get to read what our listeners reading TV Guide would have heard this was about.
So I have to do it dramatically, right?
However you want.
So I can do it movie trailer style. To recover from a heart attack, Londo must face his fears and heal his soul.
Ooh, that kind of happened on the show, but I mean, in my head, the recap was always, Londo is visited by 3 ghosts. The ghost of the Babylon past is a psychic Delenn. The ghost of Babylon 5 present is Sheridan changing clothes. And the ghost of Babylon 5 future is Jakar whipping Londo in a nightgown. Yeah. that happens.
Can I just say that your two readings of the behind the curtains, Megan, Mike and I worked on writing these down, and Mike collected all the original. Then Mike and I wrote up like the thing.
Yeah.
You two were awesome. And I'm going to tell the listeners out there that was better than the episode. You could listen to Mike and Megan do that over and over again for 42 minutes.
Give a better episode. There is some funky, funny things in this episode, but it's all moments, because what I was getting into before is that this episode was written for a different character, and then they just plugged Londo into the center of it. Like JMS was intending this episode to be for Ivanova, but she kind of left the show. So rather than completely rewriting it, they kind of just plugged someone else into the same beats. There's one moment that'll always stick out for me where he's going to talk to Delenn inside of one of his dreams, because at the beginning of the episode, Londo drinks some alcohol that was imported, getting back to the smuggler theme of Babylon 5, and it was actually poison. So the whole episode is Londo's in a coma, his heart's about to explode, Franklin's working on them, and he's just having dreams of his past. This was all supposed to be for Ivanova. And the only part that really sticks out for me is when he's talking to Delenn, to get a tarot reading of sorts in the down below, and he finds this pulsating treasure chest of Jell-O.
It's his heart. It is supposed to be him standing over his heart. Mike, come.
Yeah, I know the symbolism, but I can't get out when the actual image is just too weird and funky, where there's this pulsating treasure chest of Jell-O, and that is supposed to be my heart. Yeah, it just doesn't connect.
Yeah, I'm good if that's all we want to say on the episode.
There's one whole scene where Sheridan just changes clothes in front of him constantly. That's the scene. Sheridan's just changing clothes in front of Londo.
Not really. Just to be clear, not like actually like undressing and redressing, but it's supposed to be like symbolic as Sheridan's going through his life and his house changing.
In my mind's eye, they just cut away from it. And like they cut to Londo and he's, what are you doing? And they cut back to Sheridan. Now I'm in a fancy dress. Now I'm in a pirate costume.
Okay, so Megan, to end the show, thank you so much for being on. We're playing Two Truths and a Lie. I assume you know the premise. I'm going to read you three things about season 5 of Babylon 5. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is a lie. You get to win if you pick the lie out. Thus far, no one has completed this task. All right. Babylon 5, season 5, three things about it. Number 1, a child officer is introduced to the cast as an obvious play to capture a younger audience. Number 2, a little telepath child gives Captain Lockley brain flowers. And number 3, a future assassin leaves Sheridan a death threat on a Post-it note.
Oh, geez.
At least 2 of these things happen, as wild as that sounds, right?
They all seem plausible.
Yeah.
Wait, can you repeat the first one? I don't remember it already. I have a hole in my brain.
In your brain! That's my cue.
I didn't bring it back.
A child officer is introduced to the cast as an obvious play to capture a younger audience.
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with the first one, although I think I'm wrong.
Nicely.
That is correct. Ding, ding.
I'm so happy on 2 fronts, because that is one Mike made to go behind the curtain. It's so perfect and so close. There are 3 or 4 backdoor pilots for, there are maintenance workers. There are telepath interns, not child, but there is an intern telepath. There are several backdoor pilots, and they might as well have done this one. And this is one of the few ones I'm like, that would have been better than they had 2 maintenance workers that were basically podcast hosts just as a random episode. So perfect.
Get to that one. That's the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Babylon 5.
Yeah, so, what caused me to choose that one was like just from my sense of listening to you guys talk about it and watching the episode, I was like, it doesn't seem like they would go for that to try to get a younger audience.
But they would have.
It sounds like more of a Star Trek ploy.
But all right, so Megan, you are, ruler of the mountain now. Congratulations. But what's that, Mike?
There's a new challenger coming in right from the back of the ring. Aaron Slater.
You're not going to do a hole in your mind comment, or no? Am I ruining it, Mike? Am I breaking our kayfabe?
I was waiting for her to start talking. I was going to wait for her to start talking.
No.
Carin, there is a hole in your mind. And we're going to fill it with Babylon 5, Season 5 knowledge. How you doing, Carin?
Pretty good. I'm pretty sure that hole in my mind has been filled with heated rivalry memes.
Butts in hockey, boys. Butts.
What?
I rewrote the theme song.
What is going on right now?
You haven't seen the butt hockey show? It's great. There's these two boys, and they like showing their butts and playing hockey.
Oh, you mentioned this kid. Okay, so by the way, for those that do not remember, Carin Slater, another early guest, as Dre is stalling as he gets the script up in front of him. Season 1, episode 13. And am I mistaken, Mike? Wasn't Carin? Weren't you our first guest?
I think so.
The very first guest on the show, yes.
Which led to Mike torturing all of his and your friends with Babylon 5. Carin was on season 1, episode 13, Signs and Portents, the introduction of Morden, our devil character, going around and asking everybody, what do you want? Now, Carin, I know at least vicariously that you have to have, but have you imbibed, looked into, or done any more Babylon 5 since your episode? Willingly. No. I'm going to say willingly, outside of Mike watching it in the background.
So that's the thing, is Michael put it on in the background, and then I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. And then some of them, I'm like, oh, okay, no, I am going to watch. So 100% they get me to put the book down. I can't remember which ones, but there's definitely been episodes where Mike's had them in the background and they don't stay in the background.
Nerdy. Okay, now the second thing we have to do, and I'm going to steal one, we are contractually obligated to actually tell people things to check out because for clarity, for the billionth time, to nobody, our guests included, we don't think you should check out Babylon 5 Season 5. We did it. Listen to this recap, read spoilers online. You don't need to watch it, but we do have to tell people stuff that they do need to check out. We do ask our guests that. I'm going to preempt you, though, and say that you have started a fantastic podcast with Andy, your child. Hey, have you read this yet? I'm going to say this. You did an episode on the Animorph books, which I loved, and I'm so glad Mike didn't tell me in time because it would have gotten me behind on our silly little Babylon 5 podcast. I'm not allowing you to include that, but I'm telling everybody they need to check.
Dre has a disease where if he finds there's a podcast about something, he has to read or go into everything about it before he listens to it. So it's like you would have been going through 100 Animorph books and we wouldn't be doing the Blitzcast.
That is not me. That is you, Mike. But anyway, regardless.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I get us confused so much.
I will say this last plug, Carin. Andy, in listening to that podcast multiple times, I'm like, are they stealing my shtick? I'm like, is Mike getting a replacement for me ready? Which is more than fine. So that is a fantastic podcast with you and Andy.
It's you and the drummer in my other band are getting scared.
Yeah. But Carin, anything to check out, excluding that, of course.
Well, fun fact on that podcast. Hey, have you read this yet? The second season, we have guests, and one of the first guests is Megan and her daughter Mia. So you should keep listening if you haven't started, and then Megan will show up there too. Other things you got to check out. Megan made me start rewatching Yuri on Ice. That wasn't rewatching. That was watching for the first time.
Megan is celebrating in the Zoom.
I did, and I watched it. I actually recommend you. Here's the thing. Megan didn't tell me that there was only one season, and then I finished, and I was so upset. So I'm going to say you got to check it out, but you have to go in knowing that you're going to be upset at the end
because then it's not a curse. Because if you give someone something awesome, I'll actually do a one-up. We haven't done this yet, but I recently got snagged into the show Ghosts, which I think is a remake of a BBC show.
It is.
But about, like a haunted Airbnb. With it's just fantastic. And Instagram kept showing me clips, and I finally went in and I started watching it, and I was like, there are 5 seasons of this, and they're like real. I'm like, what? I'm like, you jerks. I'm like, I don't have time for this. So if it had been one contained season, I'd have been like, that was awesome. I can go on with my life.
But see, that's the thing. It's not contained. It ends, and then you're like, I need more, and there's no more, and it's so there's that. It's horrible.
Man, it's like how I felt when I started watching Supernatural with you guys. There's like, how much Supernatural is there?
So much freaking Supernatural. I feel like after I watch all of it, I should go back and be like, these are the episodes you need to watch, and just condense it into this is what needs to happen.
Why does your family keep ripping off our podcast, Mike?
Because
you have to pick out key episodes.
We're part of the podcast. It belongs to us. We can rip out whatever we want, baby.
That is true. We're going to have a Deep Space Nine Babylon 5 connection. And very last thing, I think I did part, but Carin, anything else that you would like to plug, socials, projects, anything like that?
No. That's the project I'm working on. That was the podcast with Andy, which is a lot of fun. Megan did get me to start rewatching Battlestar Galactica, which if you haven't seen that is right in line with Babylon 5 in the fact that it's in space. I was thinking about it. It's like comparing apples to oranges in the fact that they're both round and they're both fruits. So like Battlestar Galactica, Babylon 5, they're both in space. That's true, they are. I was thinking about it and I was like, so Star Trek Next Generation is where I want us to go, right? That's the ideal, our future. Babylon 5 is like where we are right now, and Battlestar Galactica is like where I see us actually going instead of going into.
That is really a good metaphor for everything.
Isn't it great? Because I was like, Star Trek Next Generation, that's what I want. That's what you want the world to be. And
endangering kids in space needlessly. Yes. All right.
For all of them.
Sadly, with in mind, that's where we'd love to be. But sadly, here we are at Babylon 5. For those out there, we are on episode 3 now. We've gotten all the way up to episode 3. The Paragon of Animals? Is that really what it's called, Mike?
They called it the Paragon of Animals. So, Carin, you think you have the log line ahead of you? We're having all of our guests read about the episode they're on for. So whenever you're ready, give us a dramatic reading of the show.
And this is what would be on TV Guide if you had been watching this live in real time.
Aw, TV Guide. Guar drafts the Declaration of Principles, and Garibaldi attempts to enlist the aid of the refugee telepaths.
And I'll do a slight correction. That is Jakar, but yes, I get it. They have the silly, the Narn have the silly thing.
Pedantic Dre at it again. But for me, like, I'm pedantic in the way that I see different things happening in this episode. For instance, for this one, I thought it should have been the most powerful non-First One fleet is about to be taken out by Drazi working with the mob. Lita wears a headband.
For whatever reason, Lita wears a headband is one of the most hilarious things you have ever written to me, and I don't know why. Mike is incredibly talented. MikeSlater.com. Mike's been painting cards. Mike, of course, does the podcast. Mike helps doing like editing and guest appearing on the Hey, Have You Read This Yet podcast. There's some comic episodes, including Squirrel Girl out there for people. For whatever reason, Mike and I were back and forth writing these episodes up. And Mike did an editing and he just wrote Lita wears a headband. And I was texting Mike. I don't know why, Mike, but that is just genius. And
at what point does explaining the joke come back around on itself and it becomes cool again to explain a joke, Dre? I'm trying to gauge this right now in real time.
I'm not looking for my nickname is Nerd Numbers. You think I'm looking for cool? But no, it's one. You literally
only in my eyes, Nerd Numbers. Only in my eyes.
You literally had the Facebook Justin Timberlake. Take away the. You did an edit and you replaced it with Lita wears a headband. And I was just like, that is genius. And that is the best part of this episode.
Yep. So to explain this episode of Babylon 5 Season 5, Lita finds this awesome headband and she wears the shit out of it. And that's kind of all you need to know.
Actually, this is worth saying. So by the way, in the midst of this, we're redoing Season 4. Season 4, they form the United Nations. And in Season 5, they kind of have to do it again and it doesn't matter and no one cares. So they're trying to be like, Jakar is Thomas Jefferson, but less racist maybe. And they're rewriting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then for whatever reason, people are still being duplicitous. And we'll talk about that stuff later. In the first 5 or 6 episodes, they keep changing up Lita Alexander's hairstyle. I'm willing to bet the actress is older. She was probably wearing wigs, but she's got bangs. She's wearing headbands. And I could not watch the show with how distracting Lita's hair was during 5 episodes.
I have a question. Is it like a special space headband? Like we talked about in my episode, how they turn like a toy into something by adding things to make it look futuristic. No, this is just a straight up headband.
Nope. They just had a headband and was it like a kind of like a bluish thing she puts on there? She's just trying different things out. So
it's like a vintage headband for them then, because it's in the future and she's wearing, so maybe she's trying to set a style here. She's going back.
It always reminds you of the episode where they build a motorcycle together. Like they have to get something that was in the early 90s and make a whole episode about it. And this, for me, it's all about the headband.
There is no explanation, but it was just so distracting to me. And again, over explaining a joke was beautiful. All right. We have been ending every guest with a game. Megan is currently the leader. The best you can do is hope to tie, but we'll see if we can do that. So, Carin, are you ready for 2 truths and a lie?
No, I haven't.
All right, so Mike, shut it down.
Okay. Pew.
All right. Bye, everybody. Good night.
That was Babylon 5 Blitzcast. Carin just said no fun. I'm gonna take my shot at this one. All right, Carin. I'm gonna give you 3 things that may have happened in Babylon 5 Season 5. 2 of them are truths, and 1 of them is a lie. First one. Garibaldi is promoted to leader of a Black Ops force within Babylon 5 after betraying Sheridan. Second, Sheridan grows a goatee that lasts for exactly 19 years. Or third one, Lockley is revealed to be a mole from the Clark regime. Which one of those is a lie?
And they legit, they all sound like they could be true.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
I'm gonna go with the beard one. It seems too oddly specific, but then again, it could be oddly specific.
Oh, the false one was actually Lockley. She is not revealed to be a mole from the Clark regime, but she was revealed to be formerly sympathetic to Earth Force.
Geez, 19 years? 19 years to the day.
Because a year ago on the last season, Sheridan found out that he has exactly 20 years to live. And the next year, he grows a goatee. That leaves 19 years because we see him at the end with a goatee. He had that goatee the entire time.
I love that number math. That's number math I can get behind. And oh no, what is that? Beep.
Oh, it's coming
beep,
from the back
beep.
of the arena this time. We've never seen it. It's our mystery guest who has never been on the podcast, but he's coming right down the ring right now. Oh my God, Carin, you're in trouble. It is my best friend from growing up, David Stampor, the monkey.
Hello, David.
Dave, welcome. This by the way, this is a mystery guest. You are not a previous guest on the podcast, so this is your first time, but we have questions we ask our guests. Now, it's interesting. So you have not been on a Babylon 5, you got to check this out episode, yet, but have you watched or imbibed any Babylon 5 in your time on this earth?
Yeah, I know. I've heard some of your guys' podcasts. I know that you prefer no one to have watched any of them and be like, this is the first one. But no, I did. Coincidentally, right before he told me he was doing the podcast, I had started watching Babylon 5 for the first time last year.
How far did you get?
I actually watched the whole thing, but it's good and bad. Because
wait. Did you get through season 5?
Oh, yeah.
What? How are you saying that? How?
All right. So I got to let you know that I watch things a little different where I appreciate almost everything. I give an extra bonus if it's sci-fi, except for on these very rare occasions where something will come along and I absolutely hate it and it spirals out of control. For example, I like the Green Lantern movie. I like Captain America Brave New World. Superman 2025 enrages me with a passion. Every time I think of it, I get angrier.
Wait, is that the new? Are you talking the new one with
the James Gunn one? David is like one of the biggest Superman fans ever, and he is the only person who hated the James Gunn movie that I know.
It had everything going for it. James Gunn, which is awesome. Slither, Guardians of the Galaxy, some of my favorite movies. And man, I cut. Now that I think about it, I'll just keep getting angry. That's a whole other podcast.
You are staying in theme because this is a running joke where every guest has great things to discuss. For instance, Karen Slater, who is still in the room, the Hey, Have You Read This Yet podcast, we could have spent the entire time talking. We could have spent the entire time talking just a segment, Karen, of your Animorphs episode. Could have easily filled 15 minutes with that. Mike can tell you later, I texted him immediately after and was like, oh my God. So that's good stuff. But we have to talk this silly sci-fi show. So David, you're keeping in line because I would love to talk the Superman thing. That would actually be a fun episode at some point if our schedules ever align. A couple of things to ask though, by the way, anything about you to plug, places to check you out, projects to work on, things you would like people to know about you?
Oh, about 30 years ago, Mike and I worked on some movies. They're on YouTube. Vincent, The Man Who Could Talk to Burger.
I think some of those are still on the YouTube channel for Slatron, the same channel that this podcast is released on.
Really? What? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay.
You never go through my Slatron YouTube things that I did 30 years ago? Shame on you, Dre. I've stalked you for a long time now. I thought this was a mutual stalking.
Oh, really? So what did I say about Carmelo Anthony?
So good.
I By the way, sorry to keep us all here, everybody else. Literally, my first entrance to like internet blogging was an article that was picked up like by an ESPN aggregator about how overrated Carmelo Anthony was. So Mike, hoist it on your own baton. Anyway, awesome. So that's 30 years ago, David. Anything more recent or things? And if not, we're more than fine with that too.
I agree that Carmelo Anthony is overrated. I'm happy the Pistons didn't take him, actually.
Yes.
Excellent.
No, nothing really lately. Maybe one day I'll do something creative.
Well, creative for people to see. I'm sure you've done creative stuff. I know all of us. I'm not going to give you like my work email or whatever to look at stuff. Anyway.
Oh, I have a guest spot on. You got to check it out.
Yeah, you can plug that.
Oh, by the way, sorry to stay here briefly on another podcast. We're doing the Clerks animated show. And a brilliant thing they did is the second episode that should have aired if they'd aired in order was a clip show of just the first episode. So that would be great if like you just kept plugging your appearance. You're like, oh yeah, I had this great comment about Superman on You Got to Check This Out. It was like,
you should check
great.
that out.
All right. Okay. Very last thing, by the way, we only have time for one because we are contractually obligated on this show to tell people stuff they need to check out. And outside of the show you're listening to right now, we do not think you need to check out Babylon 5 Season 5. David, anything you think our listeners should check out?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I thought about this. I have a million things. I'll try to run through them pretty quick.
Go just through the first 500,000 really quickly.
Okay, first 500,000 real quick. So I know a lot of people have mentioned the Foundation of the show. I recommend Foundation the books. Fantastic. He made them in 1950s. And then in 1980, due to fan demand, he actually continued the series, another few books, 4 books after that. Awesome. Mike, I know you like the comics, so I'll mention briefly Superman versus Aliens in the 90s.
Okay, that's 2.
Aliens 2 and a Superman and Batman versus Alien Predator, but I think the first
3.
one was the best.
That's
also
4 recommendations.
Recently, since we have a Bond connection, you also like the Tom King. Grayson, the omnibus, is actually, he's thought to be dead, and he plays it off as he's being dead, and he joins a spy organization called Spiral, and
That's Grayson? Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
Tom King, and I can't remember the other guy.
Yeah, Tom King is so good. Okay, that's 5 recommendations. We have 495,995 less to go.
I would love to keep the bit, but I will say top 5 works. David, thank you. By the way, thank you for being
because David, there's something wrong with David. You know what's wrong with him? There's a hole in his mind, and we have to fill it with some Babylon 5 Season 5, Dre.
Although David came prepared, I was not ready for that. And I will say, David, that resonated a lot with me, as Mike has learned, where the look for the good, still have fun with stuff that's not great. I am impressed that you passed the Dre threshold for Babylon 5. Because, for instance, a thing I keep comparing Babylon 5 Season 5 to is Scrubs Season 9. Same kind of idea, soft reboot that just didn't really work. I saw potential in Scrubs Season 9, but did not like Babylon 5 Season 9. But with that in mind, David, we actually do have to loop back, let our listeners actually have to imbibe some of Babylon 5 Season 5. So what we are up to is Episode 4, A View from the Gallery. And we have a log line that if you had been reading TV Guide or Roku or anything like that would have seen. So this is what the episode's about. Would you be nice enough to read that for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. 2 ordinary crewmen go about their normal routine while the station defends against an alien attack.
Oh God, no, I got scared for a minute too, because the one I had actually read it, and when I read it, it's weird, it morphed into something else for you, because it said, 2 maintenance workers spew lines from 1990s internet forums for 42 minutes while our new captain gets a haircut. Which I think very concisely says what's going on at the essence of this show.
And this episode is wild because, there were a lot of, as you've mentioned, Mike, a lot of tumult in Season 5. We were going to replace Sheridan with Ivanova, and then Claudia Christensen, the actor who played Ivanova, quit over contract disputes. And I want to be clear. I'm like on her side. When we talk, an entity buys up a company, which did happen. TNT bought Babylon 5. And then it was like, kind of does restructuring. That's basically what happened. And everybody was kind of told, sign our new deal. And if you don't sign our new deal, you're out. And Claudia Christensen wound up not signing it because she couldn't get in writing agreements for like time off. And JMS was like, well, I'm the writer. I can make sure you don't get time written. And I'm going to side with Claudia, where she's just, you can't guarantee that I'm not signing it. So she was written off. We have this random episode where none of the major players are focused on. We have 2 underdeck people. What's the Star Trek show called?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern is what I thought of it. It's not the same because they weren't really in it much, but they're background characters being brought to the front that we're seeing it through them.
And
Lower Decks.
Thank you. Lower Decks on similar idea. But what makes this episode just so painful to watch is they keep making comments that JMS himself, J. Michael Straczynski, the showrunner, is, I read this on the internet. So what at one point they even say they're like, I thought Ivana was going to take over. Yeah, I think maybe she wanted to do something new, or maybe she didn't like the pay. And you're just like,
yeah, we knew that from reading the contract disputes. What happens on the show?
That is an entire episode of, it's supposed to be kind of meta. We're seeing what's happening as an outside observer as opposed to being a main player, but it's just stally because nothing else is really going on. Everything was wrapped in season 4, really, and they kind of had to start it up again.
Yeah, so you see why we're pushing like the actual season episode talk to the very minute before the next guest comes on.
I have no complaints with that with all the other stuff.
David, no, this is different because David actually watched a lot of these too at all of season 5. What was your general impressions of this episode, if you remember, with the maintenance workers?
No, actually, I did rewatch this one this morning, actually, before to prepare. And because, I'm old, so even though I watched the whole thing last year, I forgot most of it. I know I thought season 5 was okay. It was definitely a step down, but I wasn't enraged by it, I guess. I don't know if, again, probably my much lower standards. And okay, the special effects are better than they were. And I'm not big into special effects anyways. I grew up on Star Trek original series, so I'm not worried about that. But I still liked most of the characters, even though I did miss Ivanova. But this one for sure, I appreciated a little humor. I liked the Lower Decks one on Star Trek Next Generation. I didn't know about the Ivanova contract dispute. That would have ruined it a little bit for me, I guess. But
yeah, it was almost apparent that something was going on too with her. Just they were building up her role bigger, and she had that big plot line at the end where she was about to die. And at first, because I knew she wasn't coming back, this is how they're killing off her character. It's like, no, she makes some miraculous recovery and then just isn't on the show anymore.
Right. What a bummer.
Yeah.
So, David, so glad you came in over-prepared. Kind of sorry about that, to be honest. But thank you. And it is a breath of fresh air to see someone who is nicer than me about some of this stuff, because I think I'm pretty forgiving, and even this one tipped me over the edge. All right, now with that in mind, we're about to play our 2 truths and a lie. I think most people know this. We're going to tell you 3 things about Babylon 5 Season 5. 2 of them are true, 1 of them is false. You win if you select the correct false one. All right, number 1. Londo has a dream about a pulsating treasure chest full of jello. Number 2, Jakar becomes enthralled with the Minbari culture and starts wearing a religious caste robe. And number 3, Byron makes lots of friends by acting superior to everyone around him. And this is interesting because, David, you've seen them all, so you should have no excuse to miss this.
I'm old. Let me think. Byron did have a lot in his little cult there, even though he was an arrogant priss. I'll say no to 3. Everyone likes Jell-O, so we're going to say Jell-O is fine. We'll go number 2.
Oh my God. So first off, I love this so much because Mike, being a Slater, I feel comfortable saying this. Slaters are jerks when it comes to quiz. Slaters are jerks when it comes to quizzes. If a Slater approaches you and says, I have a quiz game to play, say no.
Well, it's an old saying on the road. If you see a Slater on the road, you must kill him.
Whoa.
I thought it was just Slater is a jerk is what it was.
Oh no, I think that was the Prophet. I keep missing myself with the Prophet. Okay, cool.
Somebody should have warned me about all of this before I married into this, because I was not told about this.
But
well, you know that name changes are easy. You can just do that again.
I have seen you, Carin. I have seen you do quizzes. I have seen you do quizzes. So either you two were attracted to each other for your mutual quiz BS, or Mike infected you, which I believe too. Either is fine. But with that being said, Mike tried to do a switcheroo and did 2 false and a truth. He switched it up.
David gets 2 falses.
And you selected the one truth.
Failed me! You failed me!
Mike from the future here. David got so upset at the quiz that he began to re-experience all his traumatic flashbacks at once. We're pausing for a week to let him recover. Also, Dre's pedantry alarm went off when I used past and future to describe our guests back at the top of the episode. He asked me to clarify that David is on his first appearance, making him a present guest. Please hit up Dre on Blue Sky and Instagram to thank him for correcting this oversight. I know I have. And while you're here, please like, review, and subscribe to the podcast at all the podcast places. We'll be back next Sunday to continue the Blitzcast. Cheers, all.